types of spells. Spell cards are kind of like casting a spell in Magic. You basically play it down, follow what it does in the text here, and then go from there. And then once you're done with it, you send it off to the discard pile, which I'll explain as well. So now, the different types of spells. These are important to point out, so that way you know exactly what they do, what exactly they're meant for, and everything else. Normal spells, they're your pretty basic spells. They'll look like this, no special symbol or whatever. And it's pretty easy to figure out. And you can play it during your turn, but only your turn. Rituals, they're basically the special spells that help you bring out the blue cards. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Quick plays. These are a very, very special type of spell, because if you play Magic the Gathering, they are basically like an instant. You can play it during your opponent's turn. But the special thing is you gotta put it face down like a trap and treat it as such. And then next, equip. It's like equipping something to your monster, giving it a special weapon of some sort. Certain ones give power-ups, other ones give monsters special abilities. There's many different things with it, but you basically put it down, say, I'm going to put it on this monster, and go from there. Continuous spells. As you can see, there's an infinity symbol here, which means it stays out, unlike regular spells here.
Do they work the whole game then?
Yeah, they pretty much stay out in the whole game for however long they're out. So if your opponent, for some odd reason, plays something to destroy the spell, then the continuous effect is gone. But basically, as long as it's out, you follow what it says. Pretty easy. And then field spells. These are basically cards to change the setting of where you and your opponent are battling. There's many different types of fields. There's forests. There's some weird creature outside. Can I summon you? No, I can't summon you. Dang it.
I think it's from Sesame Street.
Oh. I'm sorry, I heard question. No? Okay, never mind. So, yeah, field spells, they're pretty basic. There's fields that put you in space, like Neospace, or puts you in the city, like Skyscraper. Yeah? Oh yeah, I love that card too. There's also forests, mountains, deserts, all sorts of fields that you could almost immediately imagine. And then, of course, we have types of traps. Of course, traps, they're very, very special. You set them up like a hunter. You put them down and just wait until the moment is right to play it. And then, of course, once the moment arises, you flip it up and say, you activated my trap card. And have that troll face moment. But yeah, and of course, there's less trap types than there are spells, because traps, they're pretty much just, they're there to F with your opponent. Yes?
One important difference that I remember, can't quick play spell cards be immediately played from your hand rather than put on field?
That's only if it's during your turn. Like if you're going into something and go, oh wait, I'm going to play this. Haha. Or otherwise, you can treat quick play spells like trap cards here and put them face down and wait until the moment is right. You can go, So, again, let's go to the different types of traps here. I was going to say spells, but we're off of that. So trap cards. You have your normal trap cards. They're pretty basic. They work pretty much like a normal spell card. They're pretty basic like that. Yeah. Continuous traps. They're like continuous spells. They stay out. This infinity symbol pretty much explains it all. And then you have counter traps, which are basically something that is a little bit more complicated. But your opponent, say he activates a spell, you can counteract that with a counter trap. So here, I'm going to do a demonstration, Jaden. And Dark Magician, if you're there. Jaden, could you go down there and try and shake Dark Magician's hand? Here's how a counter trap works.
So go ahead, try and shake his hand. That's how it works. You basically like cut it off and the handshake never happens. Oh, but it happened afterwards. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's a pretty basic thing. Counter traps are really complicated. I don't want to really touch on them too much. But if you have any questions about them, I can most certainly try to answer them. So next up we have the playing field that you pretty much play on during the card game. So the first area here is the field card zone. That's where your special field spells go whenever you play them or whenever your opponent plays them. But always keep in mind there can only be one battlefield out there, not two. Because it would be really weird if you had like a cross section of a desert and then all of a sudden you see the ocean. What? So yeah, that's kind of why that's there. Monster card zones, you can put your monsters here. I'll explain how you can put them down in a short bit. You have the spell and trap card zone down here. That's where you play your spells and set up your traps and all that. Then you have the graveyard. That's basically where all of your dead cards, all of your used up spells, all your used up traps go. The deck zone, that's where your deck goes. It's pretty easy. And then you have your extra deck zone. This is where special monsters go. However, your blue ritual monsters, they go into your regular deck here. So keep that in mind. Purple, white, and black cards go here. Yellow, orange, blue, green, and pink cards go in here. And yada yada. And then next up we have phases. This is basically what your turn looks like, and you go through this pretty much every single game. So first up you have the draw phase. This is where you draw a card. So that way you can have some sort of chance to hopefully change things around. And it wouldn't be much of a card game without drawing stuff. Standby phase. Some certain spells and traps or monsters have things that activate during that phase. But of course, if nothing does, don't worry about it. Just go right to here, which is the main phase 1. This is where you summon up your monsters, you play your spells, you set up your traps, and all of that. It's pretty basic. Then next up is the battle phase, which is the fun part of dueling, which is where you go into battle and possibly destroy monsters, destroy your opponent, hopefully, and all of that wonderful stuff. Main phase 2 happens after the battle phase. This is where if you forgot to summon or you forgot to play a spell or set up a trap, you can do it again here. And then, of course, you go to the end phase, which is where you end your turn. Pretty straightforward. And then, of course, you and your opponent go back and forth doing this until somebody wins. Yay. Oh, and I forgot to mention this, too, about monsters. Always keep this in mind. Only one regular summon per turn.
Or set.
Yeah. So I'll go through the monster card positions, as I was saying before. So you have attack mode, which is looking like this. You basically put your card down like so. Jaden, do you have any cards with you? If not, I do too. Or if anybody does have cards, I would most certainly like to borrow them at the moment. Oh, perfect. Yes, walk up here because I don't think I can catch him. So, I can't open it. Oh, I don't want the trap. I want a monster. Give me a monster. No, I don't want no spell. There's a monster. There's a monster. So, you see the card like this? This is how it should look when it's in attack mode. It's pretty easy. It should be vertical, if that helps. Then next up, thank you, sir, you have defense mode. This only happens like after you play your attack mode monster, comes to your turn again. Oh, maybe I want to protect myself. You can switch it into defense. Or otherwise, battle, which I'll explain in the next slide, I think. You basically have your opponent attack it. Oh, look, you couldn't destroy it. I guess it'll just sit there and protect me. It'll look like that. And then, of course, setting. This is the other thing you can do when you have a monster. So you think you see something really dangerous, your monsters aren't strong enough to take it out, and you want to protect yourself. You can set a monster. So that way your opponent doesn't quite know what monster it is, but at least you're protecting yourself. Because protection is always the number one thing.
One important thing to clarify is you can't summon it in defense mode.
Right. Unlike the television show, you can only normal summon or set. However, there's like one special trap that like completely throws this out the window, but that doesn't matter. Anyway, different